So today we're learning about Florida Highwaymen. Here in the state of Florida, we do have fourth grade studies of Florida history. And the Florida Highwaymen, who are 26 African American Hall of Fame artists, are perfect for our fourth graders. So that's how I tie in my landscapes with them. One of the first things I teach them about after we have our initial information about the Highwaymen is they've got to have a horizon line. That's the point where the earth and sky meet. Once they've done that, I let them pretty much go with whatever they are familiar with, whether it's the swamps here in Florida or if it's more of the intercoastal, because we do have lots of great beaches around here in Florida. Now, what they can do is they can add in clouds if they want, and I just have them add very lightly. That's important because what's going to happen is we're going to eventually paint these, and since we're going to be using watercolor, we don't want to go too crazy with it. So I have them just lightly adding in the hint of where they want to put maybe some palm trees. And the other thing they want to remember is if they're drawing something that is far away, it needs to be smaller. That shows the element of art space. And if they have to put the moon or the sun in there, which they're like obsessed with sometimes, it's got to be no bigger than the size of a dime. I've also shown them that if they want to put maybe a sailboat, because there are boats all over Florida, they put something small. It cannot be large. I don't have them draw details in the water. If they're going to put, say, a palm tree and they want it to be in the foreground, they would make it larger. And again, just drawing in the hints so that they get a general idea. And of course, they need some sort of landform for it to be sitting on. They can add the hints of maybe some plants growing around. If they want to add a dock, this is one that I was drawing with some students this morning. So they asked, well, what can you do? Can you add a dock? Sure, you can add a dock, but try to make it look three-dimensional. And so we talked about parallel lines and how you can have the parallel lines. And they have that little bit of water down there. And again, if they're going to do a reflection, if that sunset is happening real close down, just put little lines just to show the hint of where it's going to be. Some of my students are more comfortable with just pencil, and they don't want to try the watercolor. So I have them do some watercolor just on a sample, but I do allow them, if they prefer, to just use shading. And so basically I just have them like shade with the side of their pencil, and we pull out a blending stump, or just good old-fashioned use your finger to spread it. Now, if they're going to use the watercolor, we do talk about wet on wet technique, and we'll get into that more in the next video. But these are two sketches that we started with the water, and so if you use the wet on wet technique, you just put the water on, add the wet paint, the watercolor paint, and then let it blend. My biggest problem that I have with the kids, getting them to rinse the brush between colors, but that comes with practice. So we'll continue working on our Florida Highwaymen inspired sketches. And so just remember though, anything that's close to the front of your paper at the bottom is going to be larger because that's your foreground. Okay, so we have foreground, middle ground, which is a little bit smaller, and background, which is far away. If they decide to put birds in, you can see how teeny tiny they are going to be. And the other thing that a lot of kids here in Florida don't get is we don't have mountains here. So stay away from mountains, and just remember, make your horizon line. If you prefer to have more sky, then make your horizon line a little bit further down, like around a third of the way up your paper. Okay, and I hope you enjoy. Have fun.